It's Emil. It's Emil Guillermo, Emil Amok to you. We're here in New York City. Hey, I'm doing a staged reading. I'm in a part. I have a part in a play called The Amanuensis. We're doing that play stage reading at the Eric Firestone Gallery over in the NoHo district of New York, 40 Great Jones Street. It's really East 3rd, but they call it Great Jones Street. 7 p.m., Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I have a small part in it, but you should see it. It's a great gallery. You'll love the art there if you love big pieces. And this is a theater piece there at the Great Jones, or at the Eric Firestone Gallery, The Amanuensis. It's about the expose of the Song of the South. If Brer Rabbit Could Talk, this is the story, exposing Joel Chandler Harris. You got to see it. Anyway, Eric Firestone Gallery, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, this week, 7 p.m. All right. And then, of course, my other show that I'm doing, I'm back in San Francisco on January 26th, 8:30 p.m. You can also see it February 2nd and 7th. It's at Playground, Potrero Stage, there on 18th Street in San Francisco. 69 Emil Amok, Emil Amok 69. It's the same backwards and forwards. It's my one-man show. A real journalist stands up. Check it out. People have said nice things about the show. I've done it throughout throughout North America. I was in Canada, did 3 Fringe Festivals last year. This is an updated version of that show. If you happen to catch it, this is a new version, all about all the things that are happening today. And there are a lot of things happening today, right? I mean, there just is. And so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about all the stuff happening in Davos, happening in Minneapolis, all the things affecting how ICE conducts its business. You need to know about these things now because they're happening. And then, but I want to start with something happy. Diversity. You would think that diversity is dead. The Oscars, the nominations were announced today, and the big deal: Sinners. Ryan Coogler's movie Sinners has broken the all-time Oscar nomination record with 16 nominations. Unfortunately, not for Haley Steinfeld, who is the half Filipina, but there are some Filipino nominations because the producer is Filipina of Ryan Coogler's film. Ryan Coogler, of course, did Fruitvale Station. That's where you may have noticed him first. A lot of people who said, "Who is this guy doing this film about Oscar Grant in Oakland?" Ryan Coogler. And look, he's creating history, right? No one has ever had 16 nominations for their film, including Best Picture, Best Director, Actor. Michael B. Jordan was great. And I point this out. Oh, also the Filipino parts. The important thing is that producer Zinzi Coogler is the first Filipino producer. Third Black woman nominated for Best Picture. That's Zinzi Coogler. It might be his wife. I'm not sure. She and Coogler are also the first Black married couple nominated together in the category. So there it is, that Asian fusion, African American Asian, Zinzi Coogler, Ryan Coogler, Oscar power couple. Also cinematographer Autumn Durald Arcapao. She made history as the first Filipino woman and first woman of color nominated for cinematography. So there, that's diversity. And we know that under this current administration, DEI is dead. But you see, you can have DEI still under this hostile environment, and the Oscars have always been pushing for diversity. I've been covering the Oscars for years, saying, where's the diversity? Why don't you have, Asian this and Asian that? Or why don't you have more, people of color? They revamped the Oscars. They revamped who voted for them. And here, in an era where you have such hostility toward DEI, you have a history-making film, Sinners. And I saw Sinners in the theater. I loved it. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was a Ryan Coogler film. I knew it was kind of a horror picture. I mean, it's not really a horror picture. And the funny thing is, the Golden Globes honored it because it made so much money. And usually, films that make so much money do not get honored. I mean, it's let's see, what's the box office? The box office for this film is like, through the roof, which is why it was in that Golden Globe category. Along with Wicked, but to win. I mean, usually the films that do win that, like, or they get nominated in that category, like F1 and movies like that, blockbuster, Top Gun remakes and Mission Impossible remakes. This is art. This goes to the top in the Oscars, and maybe that's Oscar Grant. The soul and spirit of Oscar Grant. I'm not sure. I just said congrats to Ryan Coogler. Congrats to the Cooglers, because this is a diversity milestone in an era of Trump. Don't let this news story be seen as, oh, just nominations, just, it's the Oscars. Who cares? We care. Asian Americans especially. We care. We care about this. This is a big deal for Asian Americans. Normally, I mean, because Filipinos, right? We talk about, oh, are we seeing our? This is such an important point in terms of our acceptance and our visibility. That if we're visibility in the mainstream media, if we're visibility in mainstream culture, wow, that is something. Now, maybe with this recognition, we mature somewhat and say, now we got to get more. Now we need more. Now it's more than just, are you in the movies? Are you on TV? Are you nominated for an Oscar? We have to do more now. So congrats to the Cooglers, congrats to Sinners. I thought it was the best movie I have seen in the theaters since COVID. I mean, I haven't seen very many movies in the theater. I mean, a lot, and that's part of the problems with movies. This was a blockbuster, in our modern times, because people aren't going to the movies. But I went to Sinners, loved it. If you haven't seen it, see it. There's an historical basis, or part of the story, right? There's an artistic one, and it's sexy. It's a sexy movie. How can it not be? It's entertaining as hell. Sinners, go see it. And congratulations to Ryan Coogler for 16 nominations. Okay, the big story, though, that you really need to know about is, I mean, I'll get to the Davos part, the Davos stuff, but you really need to know what's going on when it comes to the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment's in trouble because ICE is skirting the Constitution. And this was from a report that the Associated Press found or revealed yesterday. Federal immigration officers are asserting sweeping power to forcibly enter people's homes without a judge's warrant. This is according to an internal Immigration and Customs Enforcement memo, an ICE memo obtained by the Associated Press. It marks a sharp reversal of long-standing guidance meant to respect constitutional limits on government searches. The memo authorizes ICE officers to use force to enter a residence based solely on a more narrow administrative warrant to arrest someone with a final order of removal, a move that advocates say collides with Fourth Amendment protections and upends years of advice given to immigrant communities. So, the Constitution is under attack. The Constitution has been made irrelevant by this administration judge, an immigration judge, right? And they are beholden to their political appointees and not to the law. So maybe that's how this came down. But this memo that's being circulated to all ICE agents means, hey, you don't need a warrant. Go in, break down the door, arrest people. And already it's happening. And remember, this is part of that mass deportation campaign. Donald Trump wants to deport 100,000 people we thought maybe just criminals, right? But it's to get to 100,000, you got to get to everyone. You got to deport, let's say, 45,000 people born in foreign lands. They're here. 45 million, excuse me, 45 million. Now you get to 100,000, you got to get everyone who's been naturalized, find something. You got to get everyone who was born under the 14th Amendment, which gives birthright citizenship. That's why Trump wants to overturn that. He has by executive order, but that's, being argued at the Supreme Court. But now, you got to deport everybody if you're going to get to 100 million. But that's what the Trump administration wants. That's stated by Homeland Security. That's why this order by ICE is threatening. Well, it just bypasses the Constitution. And if you're a member of the, immigrant communities that are affected, you ought to talk to a lawyer. You ought to talk to a lawyer now, because I think people are wondering, what do we do now? Because ICE has this memo. Believe me, Congress is trying to get in on it to see if there's something they could do to stop ICE from bypassing the Fourth Amendment. But this is where we're at now. This is where we're at, and not looking good for the home team. When I mean the home team, I mean people who believe in the Constitution, people who believe in the rule of law, people who believe in America, the free democracy. Under the Constitution, it isn't just an idea. The Constitution is a document. And here with this ICE memo, Homeland Security is saying, hey, administrative judge, an immigration judge says, hey, we don't need a warrant. Big thing that happened, broke yesterday. It's happening now. J.D. Vance reportedly is in Minneapolis, I guess, to bring the bad news. But this is an alarm, and it's part of this process. They want to deport 100 million. How do they get there? Bypasses of the Constitution like this is the way they get there. All right. The other big news, of course, is Greenland. Now, people say Greenland, he's never going to get Greenland. Donald Trump will say everything he wants about Greenland. I was flying here. I was at the airport, and I was watching. They have airport bars open in the morning. I was watching there, and some people were interested in that. Some people were, I don't know, if you're at an airport bar at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're barely awake. But I was just astonished by what Donald Trump said yesterday, right? Just going after, first of all, the Greenland, Iceland thing. Hey, look, I remember when Donald Trump wanted to say Thailand, but instead he said Thailand. That's where his mind's at, right? So I was just open to anything that Donald Trump would say. And he said some real dillies, like, hey, I just want this sheet of ice. It's just ice. You can do it for us and we'll be grateful, or you can say no. And I'll remember that. I'll remember that, he said. So, he's doing the tough guy thing, and then he's insulting Europe. He says, look, NATO, I don't know, whatever, we've always been, I don't know if you've ever been there for us, which is a lie. They were there, Afghanistan, they were there in all these recent conflicts. But what Donald Trump is doing by insulting the Europeans is he is essentially saying, World War II, peace, we're working together, we're allies, we're friends. Not anymore. Hey, it's a free market, the free market of power. And I have it and you don't. I mean, that's the message. And you know who else who has it? And you look at it with this board of peace that he set up. China, Russia are there, and a couple other countries that have, a stake in what's going to happen in Gaza. But he's setting this board of peace to be more than that Gaza situation, to be worldwide, to be the alternative to a UN Security Council. And who's in charge? Donald Trump. So it's like strongman rule to the nth degree. And that's how Donald Trump sees the world. Now, the Europeans somewhat gave up on Greenland. Donald Trump said he wasn't going to take Greenland by force. So he was already going in saying, I'm heading toward Taco. Trump all his chickens out, but not yet. But he said, I'm not going to seek it by force. But he wanted it, and he wanted to express that. It was a negotiating tactic. They're going to use it as, hey, look, I got this for us. He didn't. But everyone saves face. This is how Donald Trump saves face. He comes back and says, I won. I got what we want out of Greenland. Although it's a framework, and we don't even know what's in the framework. So the thing is, there was a 1951 treaty that allowed for the United States to do anything it wanted in Greenland. He didn't have to disrupt, or as the Canadian Prime Minister said, Mark Carney said, he didn't have to disrupt, or he didn't have to rupture the world order. But that's what Donald Trump does, because that's what Donald Trump does. He tears things apart and then builds it together and builds it up back in his image. Like it was perfectly fine what we had. And he could have done anything he wanted the way it was, but he didn't want that. He wanted it in his image, his name, because he's a real estate guy, right? He needs it psychologically. No, he's psychologically damaged. And I don't know, all you have to do is watch Davos, all the comments from Davos, watch all the things from that press conference in Washington that he did on Tuesday before he went to Davos. And, did you vote for this guy? Are you making the U-turn? Because so many people are making U-turns. According to the New York Times, so many people are making U-turns. Young people, people of color, big U-turn. People who don't pay attention and now are paying attention and saying, oh my God, I thought he was going to bring down prices, and he's not. I mean, here's the thing. You think Donald Trump did what he did yesterday. He was disruptive, and then he took it back. He went taco. Trump always chickens out. He went taco on Greenland. So next Tuesday, Greenland Taco Tuesday. But he did it because he saw the stock market fall. And, most ordinary people aren't in the market unless they've got 401ks. And do you trade stocks? I mean, I don't. I mean, after 9/11, I stopped trading stocks. I know that's why I'm not in some luxury suite, but I can live with myself. The thing about what Trump is doing is I don't know what he's doing, but he's telling the world, this is the way I see the world. It's bullies rule. And you want to be a bully, come join the club. When Europe starts acting like a bully, starts acting like Trump, that's the kind of world Donald Trump wants. He's disrupting the peaceful world after World War II, and he's giving us this new vision of everyone's a bully. That's how you negotiate. And you think we got a safer world? It's pretty safe for 80 years, the way it was post-World War II. But he wanted something in his own name, and now we've got 3 more years of this. 3 more years. If you think that the first year of Trump 2.0 was a little tough, that was just domestic. And the foreign folks, they just came in and did the pledge to Donald Trump. Like South Park says, they give the Qatar jet, right? Qatar, the jet's coming in the summer, 400 million. And they say the pledge, Mr. President, you do not have a small penis. Mr. President, you do not have a small penis. You repeat that pledge. That's how flattery will get you everywhere in the Trump administration. That's what the foreigners did Trump's first year of 2.0. The second year, he's saying, hey, you want to get on the board of peace? You want to be on the Trump train? Got to be a bully. This is really Trump's golden rule, right? Do unto others. Hey, you want to do unto others like I'm doing unto you, you got to be a bully. This is where the world is going, and it's not right. Hopefully, Europe stands up, because there is a slight trade surplus that favors America. Like, I think 400 billion versus 300 billion. And so, but the point is, Europeans have some leverage. And if that happens, I mean, what kind of world do we have? I mean, I think it's a lot less safe than it was, say, 2 weeks ago, before Trump went on his disruption, rupture campaign. I mean, I think you got to think about that. Those U-turn voters, they can't U-turn fast enough. And maybe Trump U-turns. Maybe he tacos again. Maybe he tries nice for a change. But the way voters can deal with this is by remembering. Just like Trump says, I'll remember. If you say no, I'll remember. Well, voters have to remember every time they get to exercise their franchise, which is on election day. That's what you have to remember. Okay, I'm going to stop here because it's still early on the West Coast where I usually do this, but I'm on the East Coast. I'm going to prepare for this thing I'm doing tonight, 7 p.m. Great Jones Street at the Eric Firestone Gallery, 40 Great Jones Street, which is off East 3rd Street, right? And it's the Amanuensis by Ishmael Reed. See, the Amanuensis, we did this in San Francisco, a stage reading. Now we're doing a stage reading in New York. A couple days, check it out. Go to the gallery. Great pieces of art. And it's a stage reading, so we're reading from the script. But you'll see the words of Ishmael Reed as he exposes Disney's Song of the South. So much we don't know about Reconstruction, post-slavery, so much we don't know about Black history, and which is American history. But you get into this story and you get a sense of a narrative that isn't often told. Disney made millions of dollars off Song of the South and then tried to cast it away like it never happened. Well, it's good to dredge it up again and see exactly what Disney did and why it was so offensive. Check it out, The Amanuensis. The Amanuensis Amanuensis means stenographer, note taker. Joel Chandler Harris, the author of the Song of the South, was accused by H.L. Mencken of being an amanuensis, just taking down slave stories and then taking credit for their stories. Ishmael Reed, who was a preeminent American literary figure, African American, writing for 5-6 decades, he wrote this recently. I'm honored to be part of the project. Check it out, Eric Firestone Gallery, 40 Great Jones Street in New York City. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then if I escape the great storm, I'll be back in San Francisco on Monday to do my show, Emil Amok 69. Check that out. Thank you for listening today. Really, I do. I thank you for listening. Whether you're seeing it live or you're seeing it on replay. But man, excited about this show. Excited about the stage reading of the Amanuensis. Also excited about doing my show. Anyway, we like to close with a little loving kindness. Because what the heck, right? I mean, love makes the world go round. So, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time. Mahal Kita.